Hello, this is the second of my Tarot videos about the minor arcana. And at the end of the last one I said that, or near the beginning I said that you can't really talk about the minor arcana the same way as you can about the major arcana, like the Fool's Journey. The major arcana have profound spiritual implications and are about, the general overall, the overarching meaning of this time in your life, the phase, the what it's all about. Whereas the minor arcana tend to be more about the events in your life. However, it's not entirely true. It's just there are a lot more minor arcana cards, so it's a different kind of journey. Certainly, each of the suits goes through a certain journey from 1 to 10. And then there's the court cards also, which are a whole different subject. And it is certainly possible to talk about how that shows the energy developing in your life, the energy of whatever kinds of activities or emotions or events or circumstances, whatever you find yourself dealing with that you might be doing a reading about when you do the tarot, or looking at the cards for some sort of enlightenment about. And also it's very significant when certain kinds of groups of cards come up. If your reading has a lot of fours, say, that shows a lot of issues with stability. And each of the four elements have different kind of relationships to stability. And it's also, again, important to think about whether the card is upright, which shows the energy flowing, or reversed, which shows it somehow blocked or in a negative formation. Again, generally speaking, if you have a lot of one suit, if you have a lot of wands, that's the fire energy. That shows a lot of activity, a lot of energy, it doesn't necessarily show things coming into manifestation, but it shows movement, energy, ideas of a particularly active type. If you have a lot of cups, that shows a certain kind of emotional energy. Both wands and cups are creative, but in very different ways. Wands, of course, is a more fiery, active creativity, and cups would be a more, emotional, intuitive, softer, flowing kind of creativity. And if you have a lot of swords in your life, that can show a lot of mental activity and a lot of writing, a lot of working at the computer. It represents air and the mind. So it can also show ideas in that form. Again, because the mind is the source of so many difficulties in our life. It also, a lot of swords in your reading tends to show, problems, a lot of stress that you're dealing with. As you might imagine, should there be a lot of swords pointed at you in your life. Wands can work that way too, of course. Coins, which is earth, show more, concern about physical things. A lot of times that means money, but it can just mean physical things generally. The solidification of all of this other energy. So you can see there's a kind of development from the suits. And there's clearly a development from, if you have a lot of ones or twos or threes, where that shows the energy in your hand and how that energy is manifesting. So in terms of talking about the minor arcana, I feel a little torn between, should I introduce it more in terms of going through a suit, like let's say there's a lot of wands showing up in your reading, or in terms of numbers. I think I'll start with suits because there's only 4 suits and there's 10 numbers. So again, I'll show a couple different decks, and I'll be fairly, this will be fairly cursory in a certain way, just in the, to keep time in mind. Many decks that show pictures are offshoots of the Rider-Waite deck, which was drawn by Pamela Colman, under the advisement of Arthur Waite. But it's called, Rider was the company that printed it originally. So the ace, and I'll show from a couple different ones. The ace from this is one of my decks. The ace, you can see here's like some sort of idea. This is a little bit on the soft side, but it's the hand coming out of the cloud. It's one. The ace is the first one for every one of the cards. The ace is almost always positive. Even if it's reversed, it can show things difficult or kind of going against you, but it still shows that sort of pure energy of just beginning, the purest form that water, earth, air, or fire could take in this world. And so here's the Rider-Waite deck with the hand coming out. There's mine, where it has the kind of fiery qualities, and you see that both have the wand is sprouting green. And here is the Crowley deck, drawn by Lady Frida, I'm forgetting, Harris. So that really gets that fiery energy going. And then here's from my other deck, which is the black and white deck, which I kept that really simple, really basic. You got to know what they mean to use that one. So you can see that's one. So you have an idea. You have like some inspiration comes to you. That's this. It's just like out of the blue. There's energy. There's passion. There's like poof, something. So then the next thing is possibility, and possibility. Two. The energy starts to like it could go this way or it could go that way. Threes are always kind of, that's like the first form. So that's when the possibilities start to take the form of work. So here's the guy looking, I guess, towards the ocean or something like that. The idea is a plan. You start to have a plan. That's mine. You start to have, and Crowley's got the flowering ones. You start to have a way this might be able to go. Of course, 4 is where your idea starts to take some sort of solid form. And there you go. So, and it's a comfortable place, as you can see. 4 is a nice resting spot there. You've got the idea, you thought of it, there's a couple different ways it could have gone, you kind of came up with a plan, good start. Things are going well. 5s are almost always in all of them, and if you have a lot of 5s in the reading, there's a lot of conflict. So that's when, your structure falls down, you get into fights with somebody. The 5 is an unstable energy. So as the energy of ideas moves into the 5 stage, suddenly that's nice little structure that you had built tumbles and you're pissed off at somebody. 6s in all of them, and should you have a lot of 6s in your reading, those are the most felicitous and they show success. So here you go. In all of my deck, the 6s do not have people in it. There it is, that 6, that glorious success. Here's the guy, the center of the parade, and the purple and the flames and the wands, that look sort of regal. 6 is good. Of course, after nothing, you can't just rest on those laurels, and then you have to start to fight for what you believe in. 7 is often sort of a mystical number, but wands being energy, they tend to get, like after the 6, they tend to get a little they're having a little trouble. Wands is just like the fire energy, they really benefit most from that first initial push. So if you're getting a lot of fire cards, a lot of fire cards in your reading, it shows a lot of that fiery active energy, but they tend to get, to bring that energy to its fullest form, which is always going to be the 10. It gets a little harder. So after you've had the success, you got to make something of. You got to fight for what you believe in. It's not necessarily as difficult as before, but you've got to stand up for your beliefs against the things that might turn against you. And surprises come. You never know. This is the 8 is the if you think of 4s as the most stable, you kind of can't have 2 stabilities, not especially with wands. So something comes to the front and sort of pulls you in a number of different directions where you're not really sure where their stability is. Sometimes it shows like some sort of accident. That's mostly if it's reversed. Something coming out of the blue. Sometimes it shows an affair. It's something surprising. All right, so here we go. The guy, he was already hit by all those wands, and now he's protecting himself. That's the 9. Nines don't always show a sense of protection, but there's usually a sense of, you know, being surrounded. With 9s, okay, there's more energy coming in. A lot of times, my favorite reading of the 9 is, so something kind of overset the apple cart. Now you have to sort of explore a little bit. You have to look a little bit beyond your comfort zone, or you have to protect what you're already sure is right. But the best is a little bit like explore. Think a little bit more about, just see a little bit more what's out there. And if you need to, protect what's there. And then in all of the wands, 10, it's a little, that's where it's like, oh my God, this idea, is it ever going to finally come to fruition? You can think of it as the last, like, carrying that last big burden home, the last burden, or you can just think of it as a burden. But one way or the other, the 10 of wands is that wand fire energy doesn't like to be, you know, it likes to be one. It likes to be first and going. So if you, that's the sort of the way that that you move through the energy of the wands, and that gives you some sense of where you are with an idea or an action or something that you are passionate about, but is has more of that sort of fiery energy than, say, the water or earth or air energy. All right, next time I will go through the cups, and you'll start to get an idea of just what the 1s or 2s or 3s mean, and then eventually we will talk a little bit more. The numerology, the one reason to talk about the numerology is that it's so powerful. Numbers are you know, they're deeply spiritual. There's the gematria, which I might be mispronouncing, the Jewish system of meaning via numbers. Numerology is in itself broad and takes many forms. Numbers and mathematics, and the relationship between mathematics and numbers and music, and the connection between sound and the deeper realms of reality. It's been said that perhaps the only way that we can communicate with other realities is via sound. So all of these are tied up in numbers. So the number of them is the number of each card. It does have a really powerful meaning, and we will get to talking more about that. All right, talk to you later. Bye.